So now we're going to switch gears over to the NFL. There's lots of great matchups in the playoffs this week. Starting off, the number 2 seed Buffalo Bills take on the number 7 Colts. Who do you have winning that matchup?
For as much as I would love to see the Colts win this matchup just because Bills fans did their best to get into the stadium, first home playoff game in like 25 or 26 years, I got to go Buffalo with this one. Don't be shocked if Indianapolis does keep it closer than people think, but at the end of the day, well, Josh Allen's just on a heater right now, and it's a tough to stop. I have Buffalo winning this, and they do cover 6.5. I'm going to put a bow on this one for fun. 27-17, Bills win.
I do see the Bills winning. I do think the Colts are the best wild card team in the AFC. I know the Ravens are in a hot streak, but I think the Colts defense and their offense, I just think, to me, the Colts are a very underrated team, but the Bills are one of the best teams in the NFL right now. They're playing like a top 3 team. They're really unbeatable. They've won, I believe, 9 of the last 10 games. And that game they lost was the Hail Mary to the Arizona Cardinals, which obviously those plays never really happen. But, if you take that game away, they're 14-2. They've had a fantastic season. I do have the Bills winning this one. I'll go 31-20. The next matchup in the AFC playoffs is numbers 3 Steelers taking on the number 6 Browns. Who do you have taking that game?
Steelers, just because of the COVID stuff. It's kind of shitty that the NFL didn't move this back. Part of me thinks that if the national championship weren't Monday night, you would see it happen. I honestly believe that. I think if the national championship weren't happening, this game would get moved back. For as much as I would love to see the Browns win an upset here, I just don't see it happening because of everything that's been going on with them with COVID. And to put a bow on the score, 34-17 Steelers.
I kind of thought you would have it a little bit closer, but I do agree with what you said. I want to take the Browns because, they're the underdog, not winning the playoffs in years. But as much as it pains me to say it, I probably got to go Steelers. Like you said, the COVID issues with the Browns. And, you make a great point about it potentially being pushed back, but not because the college football championship game. I'll take the Steelers 27-20. In the AFC, the other playoff game here is number 4 Titans take on the number 5 Ravens. Who do you have taking that one?
Baltimore. Lamar Jackson gets his first playoff win. Also, to dark horse playoff candidate to go to the Super Bowl. I know people may laugh at me for saying that. Baltimore, when 0 expectations, is a scary thing. Think about it. Their first 2 years in the playoffs, people expected them to go far. No one's expecting them to go far this year. Everyone's thinking Kansas City, Buffalo, maybe even Pittsburgh. I think a Baltimore team with nothing to lose is a very dangerous thing. Like, look at them in 2013 when they ran the table and got to the Super Bowl. Obviously, they were playing in the motion because of the Ray Lewis stuff. But like I said on this last episode, I had it Ravens Saints in the Super Bowl. I still very well think that could happen. With this game, though, it's going to come down to if the Ravens can stop Derrick Henry. I think yes, because if you look at the last time these two teams played, Calais Campbell and Brandon Williams, who are the run stuffers, did not play. They're going to be playing Sunday. And also to look for Derek Wolfe to have a big game for Baltimore. I'm going to say Baltimore wins 34-31. You know what? Because when it comes to defenses, I trust Baltimore's a lot more than Tennessee's. Because Tennessee's defense, also to another note, Tennessee's defense is terrible on third down conversion.
You do look at the Titans pass rush, and their run defense isn't really great either. And if you stop the run against Lamar Jackson, you're going to win. There's no doubt about it. And the Ravens are on a hot streak right now. Up until that hot streak, they were inconsistent. The Titans, they're a good team, but they're also inconsistent. But I don't know. I don't really trust Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. Last year he was the MVP, but when it came to the playoffs, he wasn't really good. His rookie season, I'm going to give him a pass on that because he only started like 5 or 6 games up to that point. But to me, this really could go either way. I have the Titans winning 27-23, but I would not really be surprised at all if the Baltimore Ravens would end up winning. So as we switch over to the NFC, the number 2 Saints take on the number 7 Chicago Bears. Who do you have taking that one?
Who dat saying they're going to beat them Saints? Like, I still believe the Saints are going to the Super Bowl. Like, I know everyone's thinking Green Bay and all this stuff. look at 2015 with the Denver Broncos, how they rode on that emotional stuff of potentially Peyton Manning retiring. I think the Saints do that here with Drew Brees. And also look, too, I just don't know what to think of the Bears defense because the Bears defense has not been playing good lately. Even for as good as they've looked throughout the years, I honestly believe that Drew Brees can have fun with this team. Michael Thomas, we don't know if he's going to be playing yet. They're getting also, too, on the Saints defensive front. C.J. Gardner-Johnson will be playing. And as for us, and also, too, Sean Payton openly signed. People don't forget this game is on Nickelodeon on Sunday afternoon. So I'll be watching CBS and I'll also be watching the Nickelodeon feed on my laptop because I want to see how it looks. But as for a score for this game, give me Saints 28 to 20. Bears with a backdoor cover. I think the Saints dominate the game, but the Bears get a touchdown in garbage time.
Yeah, to me, you look at playoff teams in the AFC and NFC. I think the Bears are easily the worst team in the playoffs. I think I agree with what you said. Momentum off Drew Brees' potential last year. I think this will be a blowout. I have the Saints winning 31-10. I know the Bears' defense is good, but they've not really been great as in years past. The next game, to me, is very intriguing. The number 3 Seattle Seahawks takes on the number 6 Rams. Who do you have taking the win in that one?
Before I get into that one, I actually have a take to give about the Bears coaching situation. If the Bears end up firing Matt Nagy, look at Pat Fitzgerald to potentially come in and coach that team. That's something I wanted to throw out there. But with Rams Seahawks, I think that McVay knows who's playing. I think he's just keeping it close to the vest. We'll probably find out tomorrow. Like someone will leak it, like Rappaport or Schefter. But with this game, though, when it comes down to everything, for as much as you want to see the John Walford story continue and them win, I got to go Seattle. I think their defense will just be more disruptive, even though Aaron Donald's on the one side of the ball. Seattle's defenses look great. And I think if Russell Wilson can just do the bare minimum to get them by, they'll win. I thought this game would be higher scoring, but I still have Seattle winning. And if I had to put a score on it, I'm going to say 23-16.
I think it'll be a really close game. I mean, it seems like Russell Wilson, the first 5 or 6 weeks, was the MVP candidate. You can make a case that at that point, he was the top candidate in the NFL. The past month or two, he's just been absolutely inconsistent. There's been times he's thrown less than 200 yards and games where he's thrown interceptions and no touchdowns at all. I think the Rams defense is very underrated. It's going to be interesting to see if Goff would play or not, but I agree. I think McVay does know who he is. Starting at quarterback already, but with Sean McVay as head coach and the great play caller that he is, I think he'll have some trick plays lined up for the Rams, and I'll take the Rams with the upset, 16-13.
True. All right. You know what? Also, too, Tom Rinaldi will be working the game tomorrow. His first game under his new Fox deal. That's just something to point out. So it's not Christina Pink and Chris Myers on the sidelines for Fox. It's Aaron Andrews and Tom Rinaldi. So I'm interested to see how that one goes because I think it's just Maria Taylor working the sidelines Monday night.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how that would go. His first game with Fox, and the last NFC playoff game is number 4 Washington football team against the number 5 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I have a feeling I know where you're going to go here, being a Patriots fan, but who you have in this one?
It has nothing to do with me being a Pats fan. Like, do I want to see Tom succeed? Yeah. Do I want to see him win a Super Bowl on a team that's not New England? Nah, it'll be a tough thing to go through. I'm going for the Buccaneers because, look, besides the whole Tom stuff, I just believe in them more. I think that he's going to have a fun day with those defensive backs in Washington because that's their weak point of their defense where I totally don't agree with them. If they get a right quarterback, they can be a Super Bowl contender because besides their front seven, their secondary is still pretty weak. But with this one, though, I still think that the football team does make a few defensive plays. Do you know what? Keep it close. But at the end of the day, I'm still going to go Buccaneers just because I think they're the better team. Because also, too, for those of you who need to remember, the Bucs do better against teams who aren't really playoff teams. I understand Washington won the East, but a team filled with misfits could have won the NFC East. Now, with the score for this game, I'm going to say that Washington does cover, though. Give me Bucs 24-17.
That's really close because I was thinking in my head some score predictions. I actually had 24-16. I do think it'll be close. The thing about Washington is nobody is picking them to win. Obviously, they have, they're the underdog. Nobody's picking on them to play some advantage and revenge type of deal. They want to prove people wrong. And with Brady, I mean, he's like one of the best quarterbacks of all time, Super Bowl champ. I mean, he's one of the best ever. I do think it'll be close. I think Washington's defense will give Tampa Bay some misfits at times in some games. And I think Tampa Bay's defense may struggle a little bit, but I don't really expect Washington's offense to score many touchdowns. I think the majority of Washington's points will come from field goals, but I do think it will be a much closer game than people think. And honestly, I do expect Tampa Bay to win, but I will not be surprised if Washington will pull out the upset. I think it's possible, and to me, this is one of the most exciting games, in my opinion, of the week. I'm really looking forward to it.